The camera fades into the soft glow of morning light spilling through wide kitchen windows. The air hums with quiet warmth, the kind that doesn't need words to be felt. A pan sizzles softly. The clinking of utensils blends with the slow rhythm of a new day being born. Preston stands by the stove, awkward yet determined, his sleeves rolled up as if preparing for something more than just breakfast. He's never done this before, not since Emma passed. But today feels different. Maybe it's the silence that isn't heavy anymore. Or maybe it's the faint sound of footsteps behind him. Maya steps in, her presence gentle but grounding. She doesn't say anything at first. She just watches. The man who built walls around his heart now trying to make scrambled eggs. There's a quiet beauty in his effort, a vulnerability in his movements. At the kitchen table, Eli sits small and observant, the morning light catching in his eyes. He doesn't speak much, but he notices everything. The sound of oil popping, the smell of toasted bread, the subtle exchange of glances between his father and Maya. And then it happens. Small, fleeting, almost unnoticeable. Eli smiles, just a soft curve of his lips. For a moment, time stills. Preston freezes, spatula in hand, his breath caught. Maya looks at Eli, then back at Preston, her eyes bright with something unspoken. That one smile says everything. It's the first crack in the distance between them. The first sign that maybe, just maybe, love is finding its way back through the silence. Preston chuckles quietly. "He beat me to it," he says, pretending to focus on the pan. Maya laughs. Then he's undefeated. The tension melts away, replaced by something tender and real. As they sit down together, the camera lingers on the small details. The steam from their plates, the sunlight brushing across the counter, the soft rhythm of forks tapping porcelain. It's not just breakfast. It's the start of healing. The narration deepens. Sometimes love doesn't return with grand gestures or perfect words. Sometimes it comes back in the quiet mornings, in a shared meal, in a child's smile that says, "I'm still here." The scene fades as laughter fills the kitchen, a fragile, beautiful sound that feels like home. And before the video closes, the narrator's voice gently returns. If this moment touched your heart, take a second to share it forward. Like, subscribe, and join us for the next chapter in this journey of rediscovering love, one quiet morning at a time. The scene opens with the gentle crackle of eggs sizzling in the pan. Sunlight dances across the kitchen counter, painting soft gold on the walls. The tension from days, or maybe years, seems to dissolve into the morning air. Preston flips the eggs with exaggerated focus, pretending to be a master chef. "You know," he says, glancing at Maya with mock seriousness, "these are artisan eggs, limited edition." Maya raises an eyebrow, suppressing a grin. "Is that so? Because they look suspiciously like regular eggs to me." He smirks. "Regular eggs? Never. These are handcrafted, ethically whisked, cage-free miracles of culinary excellence." She laughs, a real unguarded laugh, and for a heartbeat, the house feels alive. The sound fills the room, echoing off walls that have been silent for far too long. Eli, seated at the table, looks up from his plate. His eyes brighten. Even if he doesn't fully understand the words, he feels it. The change in the air, the warmth between them. Preston slides a plate across the counter, a little messy but made with care. "Breakfast is served," he declares with a theatrical bow. "Impressive," Maya teases. "Didn't burn down the kitchen." "I'm shocked," Preston grins, shrugging. "It's early." The day's not over yet. The camera lingers on the table as they sit together. Three people bound not by perfection, but by presence. The sunlight grows stronger, washing over them like a quiet blessing. The laughter continues, easy and genuine. For the first time, the house doesn't echo with emptiness. It hums with life. Eli giggles softly when Preston pretends to drop his fork, and Maya catches it mid-air. "Teamwork," she says with a smile. Preston nods, his tone playful but his eyes sincere. "Yeah, feels good to be part of a team again." The moment stretches, not dramatic, not loud, just real. And in that simple meal, something shifts. Grief loosens its grip. and in its place, warmth takes root. Narration fades in softly. Sometimes healing doesn't arrive with grand revelations. It slips in quietly, through laughter, shared food, and the courage to be present again. As the camera pans out, the trio's laughter fills the kitchen. The smell of eggs, the clatter of dishes, and the sound of life returning blend into something beautiful. Then, the narrator closes with a warm tone. If this moment made you smile, remember, healing starts with the smallest joys. Like, subscribe, and stay with us as we follow this family's journey toward love, laughter, and light. The scene opens with the faint clinking of dishes, and the last traces of laughter still lingering in the air. The plates are nearly empty and sunlight stretches lazily across the kitchen floor. It's one of those rare, quiet mornings that feel suspended in time. Fragile, precious, almost sacred. Preston wipes his hands on a towel, glancing at Maya and Eli. There's something in his eyes, uncertainty mixed with purpose. He takes a slow breath before speaking. "Come with me," he says softly. The words hang there, simple yet weighted with meaning. Maya tilts her head, curious. "Where to?" Preston hesitates for a beat too long, the kind of pause that reveals everything he doesn't say. "You'll see," he replies, his tone gentle but unsure. For a man who has lived guarded for so long, even this small invitation feels monumental. Eli looks up from his plate, his small hands fidgeting with the edge of his napkin. Maya gives him a reassuring smile, then nods toward Preston. "All right," she says, her voice calm. "Lead the way." The camera follows them as they move through the quiet house. Every creak of the floorboards, every shift of light feels symbolic, like the home itself is exhaling for the first time. Preston walks slightly ahead but keeps glancing back, making sure they're still following. There's hesitation in his step, but also a quiet determination. They pass family photos lining the hallway, moments frozen in time before everything changed. Maya notices Preston's eyes linger briefly on one of them, a smiling woman holding baby Eli. The air thickens, but no one speaks. They just keep walking. When they reach the side door, Preston turns to them. "I haven't shown anyone this part of the house in a long time," he admits. His voice falters, revealing the rawness beneath his composure. "But I think it's time." The camera closes in on Maya's expression. Soft, understanding. She nods slowly, recognizing that this isn't just a tour. It's trust being offered, piece by fragile piece. Eli takes Maya's hand, his other hand brushing against Preston's. The gesture is small but electric, a bridge quietly forming between them. The narrator's voice fades in, calm and reflective. There are moments when words don't build bridges. Actions do. A single invitation, a step forward, a door opened. It's in these gestures that healing begins to take root. As the door creaks open, sunlight spills across their faces, bright and inviting. For the first time, they stand not as strangers sharing space, but as a family beginning to trust the path ahead. The camera lingers as they step through the doorway together, into the unknown but hopeful light. Then, the narrator concludes, "Sometimes, an invitation isn't just to follow, it's to believe again." If this story touched your heart, take a moment to like, subscribe, and continue the journey with us as new doors and new beginnings open ahead. The sound of footsteps crunching over gravel fills the air as the camera follows Preston, Maya, and Eli down a narrow stone path. The morning sun filters through a canopy of magnolia trees, casting dappled patterns across their faces. Preston walks ahead, his pace slow, uncertain. Like each step carries a memory. They turn a corner, and there it stands. A forgotten glass house, once bright and full of life, now veiled in ivy and time. The structure glistens faintly in the sunlight, its glass panels streaked with dust, its frame wrapped in green tendrils that whisper stories of years gone by. Maya pauses, taking in the sight. "It's beautiful," she says softly, almost to herself. Preston's expression tightens. "It used to be," he murmurs. He moves closer, running his hand along the doorframe, tracing the lines of neglect with quiet reverence. Emma loved this place. She called it her pocket of peace. After she was gone, I couldn't bring myself to come back. The door creaks as he pushes it open, revealing the inside, a space suspended between decay and beauty. Rays of sunlight pierce through cracks in the glass, illuminating motes of dust dancing in the air. Old pots line the shelves, soil dry and cracked. A single vine still clings to life, stretching upward, defying the stillness. Maya steps inside, her eyes wide with wonder. "Even after all this time, it's still standing," she says. Her voice carries both awe and sadness. Eli follows, his small footsteps soft against the dirt floor. He reaches out to touch one of the vines, his fingers brushing its leaves gently, almost reverently. Preston watches him, his voice low, heavy with memory. "She used to grow herbs here for Eli's therapy. Said the smells helped him feel calm. Lavender, mint, rosemary. After she died, I tried to keep them alive, but..." He stops, the words caught in his throat. Maya looks around, her gaze tender. "It's not gone," she says quietly. "It's just waiting." Her words hang in the air, simple yet profound. The camera lingers on Preston's face, a mix of disbelief, grief, and something new rising beneath it. Hope. The narrator's voice gently cuts in. "Sometimes the places we abandon hold the parts of us we thought were lost. And when we finally find the courage to return, we realize they were never waiting for us to fix them. They were waiting for us to remember." Preston kneels beside Eli, touching the same vine his son is holding. The glass house, once a monument of loss, begins to feel alive again. The silence isn't empty anymore. It hums with possibility. As the sunlight glows brighter through the ivy-covered glass, the camera pulls back slowly, capturing the three of them standing together amid dust, light, and memory. The narrator closes with a soft, hopeful tone. "If this moment moved you, let it remind you that even forgotten places can bloom again. Like, subscribe, and stay with us as this story of rediscovery continues, where every seed of hope begins to grow once more." The camera drifts slowly through the glass house, capturing rays of sunlight filtering through cracked panes. Dust particles shimmer in the golden light, swirling like memories brought back to life. Maya takes a few careful steps forward, her eyes tracing the remnants of a past she never knew. Pots half filled with soil, faded gardening tools, and the faint scent of something sweet and old. Then, on the far wall, she notices it. A framed photograph, its glass smudged and edges worn. She steps closer. It's Emma. Her hair wild from the wind, her laughter frozen mid-motion. In her arms, a baby, Eli, tiny and content, pressed against her chest. Maya's voice softens. "She looks so happy." Preston stands behind her, silent for a moment. When he finally speaks, his voice trembles, caught between fondness and ache. "She was. This was her sanctuary. She used to spend hours here." He steps forward, eyes fixed on the photo. Emma believed this place could heal things medicine couldn't. She grew herbs, lavender for calm, basil for focus, mint for energy. She said the smells helped Eli connect with the world, even when words couldn't. He exhales slowly, the weight of years pressing against his chest. "After she died, I tried to keep them alive, but I didn't have her touch. Everything just faded." Maya glances around, taking in the dry soil and brittle leaves. "Maybe they didn't fade," she says gently. "Maybe they were waiting for someone to remember why they were planted." Preston's jaw tightens. He wants to answer, but the words don't come. His hand reaches for the edge of the photo frame, his thumb brushing against Emma's smile. His eyes glisten. Grief, love, guilt, all tangled in silence. Eli, unaware of the heaviness in the air, walks closer to the wall, staring at the photograph. He touches the image of Emma's hand, tracing it with his tiny finger. For the first time, Preston doesn't pull away from the sight. He lets himself feel it. The narrator's voice fades in, calm and reflective. Grief isn't a wound that heals with time. It's a garden that grows wild in our absence. Sometimes we just need to walk through it again, to remember what still breathes beneath the overgrowth. Preston crouches beside Eli, his voice a whisper. "She loved you so much," he says. "More than anything." Maya watches them quietly, a soft tear slipping down her cheek. The glass house, once heavy with silence, now holds something else. Acceptance. Preston straightens, eyes still on the photograph. "I thought coming back here would hurt," he admits. "But maybe this is what healing looks like." As the light warms the space, the camera pulls back, revealing the family framed by ivy, sunlight, and ghosts of the past, no longer running from the memory, but standing within it. The narrator closes with a steady, heartfelt tone. If this story touched your heart, remember, love doesn't vanish when life changes. It lingers, waiting for us to see it again. Like, subscribe, and follow this journey as we learn how memories can heal, even through the quiet ache of loss. The camera opens on a close-up shot of Maya's hand brushing gently over a cracked clay pot. The soil inside is dry, lifeless, but the way she touches it, there's tenderness, as if she can already see what it could become. The glass house stands quiet around her, filled with the echoes of what once was. Ivy climbs the walls, sunlight filters through dust-covered glass, and the air hums with the faint memory of laughter long gone. Preston stands nearby, watching her. His posture is tense, half-guarded, half-curious. He's still not sure why he brought them here. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was hope he didn't know he had. Maya kneels, picking up a broken pot and turning it in her hands. "You know," she says softly, "this place isn't dead." Preston frowns. "It looks pretty dead to me." She smiles faintly, unbothered by his skepticism. "No, it's just been waiting. Look." She points to a small vine climbing through a crack in the floor, its leaves vivid green despite the neglect. Life finds its way back, even when we stop tending to it. He follows her gaze, staring at the stubborn little plant. Something shifts in his expression, a flicker of emotion, barely there but real. "Emma used to say things like that," he murmurs. Maya glances at him, her eyes warm. Then maybe she was right. For a moment, silence fills the space again. Only this time it's not heavy. It's thoughtful. The camera pans slowly around them, capturing fragments of the glass house, shattered pots, cracked glass, forgotten tools covered in dust. And yet, in the way Maya looks at it, every flaw feels like potential. She stands, dusting off her hands. "Let's bring it back," she says. "The herbs, the flowers, all of it. Not just for her memory, but for Eli. For you." Preston stares at her, uncertain. "You really think this place can come back to life?" Maya steps closer, her tone steady and kind. "It already has. You're here. He's here. That's how it starts." Her words hang in the air, settling deep. It's more than an idea. It's permission. Permission to rebuild, to remember, to hope. Preston's eyes soften, and for the first time he lets a small, genuine smile appear. The narrator's voice fades in, calm and sincere. Healing begins the moment we choose to see beyond the ruins, to see not what's broken, but what still breathes. Maya's vision isn't about fixing the past. It's about planting something new in the soil of what was lost. Preston takes a slow breath, looking around the glass house as if seeing it through new eyes. "All right," he says finally. "Let's do it." Maya nods, her smile widening. Eli claps his hands softly, sensing the change even if he doesn't understand the words. The camera rises, showing the three of them standing in the golden light of the glass house. Tiny figures surrounded by decay, yet glowing with hope. The narrator closes with warmth and invitation. If this story inspired you, remember, Every ending can become a beginning, if you're willing to see it differently. Like, subscribe, and stay with us as we continue this journey of turning grief into growth and broken spaces into places that bloom again. The camera opens with the soft hum of wind moving through the ivy-covered glass house. Rays of sunlight pierce through the dusty panes, cutting through the shadows. Maya stands at one end, gently gathering tools from an old shelf. Her movements calm, deliberate. Eli sits cross-legged on the floor, tracing shapes in the dirt with a small stick, humming quietly to himself. Preston lingers by the doorway, half inside, half out. His hand rests against the weathered frame, fingers tapping restlessly. He watches them both. The easy way Maya moves, the lightness in Eli's small hum, and something in him stirs. For years, he's lived behind invisible walls. Every decision, every breath guarded by loss. But this feels different. Maya looks up and meets his gaze. "You don't have to decide now," she says softly. "We can just start small. A little soil, a few seeds. That's all." He doesn't answer. His eyes drift across the glass house, cracked pots, broken shelves, a photograph of Emma still hanging by the wall. Every inch of it feels like both a grave and a promise. The silence stretches. Then Preston exhales, long and slow. "She loved this place," he says finally. "She said it was where things learned to start again." His voice catches, but he doesn't look away. Maybe it's time I learn that too." Maya's expression softens, a quiet smile breaking across her face. She nods, as if she's been waiting for this. Not to convince him, but to see him arrive here on his own. The camera closes in on Preston's hands as he steps forward, kneeling beside Eli. He takes a small pot, scoops in fresh soil, and presses a seed into the center. The gesture is simple, but it carries the weight of years. Eli watches closely, mirroring his father's movements, his small fingers patting the soil down with care. Maya kneels beside them, her voice warm and steady. "There," she whispers. "Every seed is a promise. You just have to give it time." Preston glances up, meeting her eyes. "I guess I owe a few promises." The camera pans slowly around the trio, capturing the transformation. The lifeless glass house beginning to stir with purpose again. Sunlight glows brighter, dust dancing in the air like tiny sparks of renewal. Then the narrator's voice rises, soft yet profound. "There comes a moment when grief no longer holds you captive, but becomes the soil from which something new can grow." Preston's decision to rebuild isn't just about a garden. It's about reclaiming the parts of himself he thought were gone. The father, the dreamer, the man who still believes in beginnings. Preston stands, brushing dirt from his hands, a faint smile pulling at his lips. He looks around the glass house, not with sorrow, but with intent. "Let's make this place live again," he says quietly. Eli claps once, giggling. Maya laughs too, her eyes glistening with relief and hope. The camera pulls back, showing them surrounded by sunlight, the once-forgotten glass house now echoing with the sound of life returning. The narrator closes in a warm, steady tone. "If this moment inspired you, remember, it's never too late to rebuild. Not your home, not your dreams, not your heart." Like, subscribe, and join us for the next chapter, as this family learns how second chances can bloom, one seed at a time. Soft piano music fades in as the camera opens on the gentle rustle of leaves outside the glass house. Inside, sunlight spills across the soil-covered floor, turning everything golden. The space feels different now, alive, breathing. The once silent glass house hums quietly with movement and purpose. Maya kneels beside a wooden crate of small seed packets, carefully reading the faded labels. "Lavender," she says, smiling faintly. "Emma's favorite." She hands it to Preston. "We'll start here." Preston takes the packet, rubbing his thumb across the paper like it's something fragile. "She said the smell helped calm him," he murmurs, glancing toward Eli. "Maybe it still can." Eli sits in the center of the floor, legs crossed, eyes wide with focus as he watches every move. His small fingers mimic Maya's, as she shows him how to make a shallow groove in the soil. "Just a little space," she says softly, "so it has room to grow." He nods, tongue poking out in concentration, and presses the seeds gently into the earth. Preston joins him, their hands brushing as they work side by side. The moment is quiet, unforced. A rhythm forming between them that feels new and fragile, yet deeply right. The camera lingers on small details. Maya's hands dusted with soil, Preston's careful movements, Eli's quiet fascination as he pours a little water into the pot. Droplets catch the light like tiny jewels. Preston leans back, watching his son. For the first time in what feels like forever, there's peace in his expression. Not the absence of pain, but a soft acceptance of it. He looks at Maya, gratitude written in his eyes. Maya smiles. "It's strange," she says, "how something so small can feel like a beginning." He nods slowly. Maybe that's what healing looks like. Not forgetting, just planting something new beside the memory. The narrator's voice enters, calm and thoughtful. In every handful of soil, there's a promise, a belief that what we nurture will rise again. For this family, each seed isn't just life waiting to bloom. It's hope taking root in the quiet places where loss once lived. Eli giggles as a drop of water splashes onto his cheek. Maya laughs softly, wiping it away. Preston chuckles too, a sound that carries lightness, the sound of a man remembering how to feel alive. The camera pans upward, showing sunlight breaking fully through the glass ceiling, illuminating the trio as they continue to work together. Digging, planting, watering, breathing. The once forgotten space now glows with color and connection. Then, as the music swells gently, the narrator concludes with a tone of warmth and reflection. Every act of care plants something beyond what we can see. Sometimes the smallest gestures, one seed, one touch, one smile, are what bring us back to life. If this story moved you, subscribe, and stay with us as we follow this family's journey of healing, where hope grows quietly, one seed at a time. Soft strings hum in the background as the camera opens on the glass house at dusk. The golden light has deepened into amber, spilling softly through the glass panes now half cleared of dust. The faint scent of earth and lavender fills the air. The day's work is done, tools neatly set aside, new seedlings lined in rows. For the first time, the space feels like it's breathing again. Preston sits on an old wooden bench, his hands still dusted with soil. He watches Maya as she finishes watering the last pot. Eli sleeps nearby, curled up on a blanket under the warm glow of a lantern. The sound of his quiet breathing fills the silence with peace. Preston finally breaks the stillness. "You know," he says quietly, "I didn't think I'd ever come back here. Not like this." Maya looks over, her expression soft. "Places like this? They wait for us, just like people do." He smiles faintly, shaking his head. "You talk like Emma used to." She chuckles, not as deflection, but as understanding. "Then maybe she's closer than you think." There's a pause. Preston's gaze drifts across the glass house, the vines climbing the walls, the soil dark and rich again, the faint shimmer of life beginning to stir. "You helped me see what I couldn't," he says. His tone carries a weight that's been building for years. Gratitude, humility, grief, all woven together. "I was stuck, afraid to touch anything she'd left behind. But you—" He stops, searching for the right words. "You made it okay to remember." Maya lowers the watering can, her eyes glistening in the soft light. "You just needed someone to remind you it's all right to live again." He nods slowly, looking toward Eli. "And he needed me to remember how." The camera lingers on their faces. No grand gestures, no dramatic tears, just quiet recognition. Two people who've walked through pain long enough to understand that healing isn't loud. It's in the stillness, the shared work, the gentle company of someone who stays. The narrator's voice fades in, warm and contemplative. Healing doesn't always come through words. Sometimes it arrives through presence, a hand that helps without asking, a moment of silence that says you're not alone. Maya's kindness didn't erase Preston's grief. It gave it shape, direction, and finally, peace. Maya sits beside Preston on the bench. The camera catches the faint glow of lantern light reflecting on their faces. Neither of them speaks for a while. They don't need to. The soft night air hums with crickets. The smell of soil lingers, and the glass house feels like a living heart, beating again after a long, deep sleep. Preston looks at her one more time. "Thank you," he says simply. Maya smiles. "You don't have to thank me. You just had to open the door." The music swells gently as the camera pans upward, capturing the glass house bathed in soft golden light. A sanctuary reborn not from rebuilding walls, but from rebuilding hearts. The narrator closes in a low, steady voice. When care replaces silence, and kindness replaces fear, healing takes root. If this story touched your heart, subscribe, and stay with us as we follow this family's quiet journey toward light, where love grows, not from words, but from presence. The camera opens on the final moments of daylight, the sky painted in hues of gold and rose. The glass house, once forgotten and overgrown, now glows from within, its walls shimmering with warmth. The plants they've nurtured stand like quiet witnesses to everything that has unfolded here. Leaves tremble softly in the evening breeze, catching the fading sunlight. Inside, Eli hums gently as he waters the small pots lined across the table. His tune is soft, innocent, and pure, the kind of sound that fills the heart more than the air. Maya stands beside him, her hand resting lightly on his shoulder, while Preston watches from across the room, his face calm, transformed. The camera lingers on Preston. The lines of grief once etched across his expression have softened. He still carries loss, but it no longer weighs him down. It grounds him, roots him. He walks toward them, each step steady, purposeful, and free of hesitation. Maya glances up and smiles. "You hear that?" she says softly. Preston nods, watching Eli sway gently to his own rhythm. "He hasn't done that in years," he murmurs. She used to say his humming meant he was happy. Maya looks around, her eyes glistening. "Then I guess we've done something right." Preston kneels beside Eli, joining him in watering the plants. Together they move in rhythm, slow, deliberate, tender. The camera focuses on their hands working side by side, soil crumbling softly between their fingers. As they finish, Eli looks up and gives a small smile. Quiet, but radiant. It's the same smile he once gave in the kitchen. Only now, it's steady, whole. The camera pulls back to reveal the full scene. The family standing together beneath the soft glow of lantern light, surrounded by green life and golden warmth. The glass house hums with peace, a place once haunted by memory now filled with renewal. Preston glances toward Maya, his voice calm and full of gratitude. "I thought this place was where everything ended," he says. "But maybe it's where everything begins." Maya smiles, her voice barely above a whisper. "It always was." The narrator's voice enters, low and resonant. Every story of loss holds within it the seed of something new. For Preston, Maya, and Eli, the glass house became more than a place. It became a promise, a reminder that even after the deepest winters, there is always spring, always light, always the chance to begin again. The camera rises slowly, showing the glass house glowing against the darkening sky, its golden light a beacon in the dusk. The silhouettes of the trio remain inside, still, together, whole. As the music swells gently, the narrator concludes, "This is how healing looks. Not perfect, not complete, but alive. Rooted in loss, growing toward love, and illuminated by hope." If this story touched your heart, subscribe, and stay with us, for every ending is just the beginning of something beautiful.